call them, and they have a student peer advisor. And during our pro seminar for our FIGs, we use the Strengths Quest instrument, and we help our freshmen identify their strengths to help them begin to think about what they want to do while they're on our campus. We're also using it in our learning strategies classes. Now these classes are for students that are a little bit less prepared and need some extra support. You know, when I meet with parents at the beginning in our orientation program, I say to parents, your student has been admitted to our institution because we believe they can be successful. When I went to college, the president stood up and said, look to your left, look to your right, only one of you will be left in 4 years, which is such a positive thing to say to people and makes you go, who is the weakest link? So, we say to our students, we expect you to be successful, but we do have those that are less prepared, that are a little bit more at risk. And we found that we can use the Strengths Quest and help them to identify their strengths because these kids are bright enough, they just are sometimes directionless. And so helping them identify strengths themes really gives them ideas about what they ought to be exploring while they're on our campus, what courses they ought to take. Obviously, students working in our leadership development program and those that are working toward a leadership certificate use the Strengths Finder, and then our staff help guide those students in finding ways to practice using their strengths. They suggest coursework. We have courses in leadership. We have courses in sociology and in psychology and in business that can help students learn to develop those strengths. And so our staff help guide them in that. They suggest activities and experiences the students can get involved in where they can practice their strengths and learn from interactions with others. In fact, much of what our student activities programming professionals do is provide all those activities that give students opportunities to learn more about their strengths and hone their skills. Some of our academic advisors are using strengths themes to help students make choices about majors and out-of-class activities. And here's a kicker. Our College of Business advising office is using a strengths approach as they guide students through course selection, decision-making about internships, and job interview processes. They're giving the students the language that they can use to describe what they do well. When students can describe their strengths in a job interview and tell a future employer how they can apply those strengths to the particular job they're interviewing, they're much more likely to get hired. You know, I think we forget sometimes that we go through all of this with our students and we work at developing them, and then we never give them the language that they need to help them communicate what they've learned and what's happening to them to other people. And like all of us, our students are eager to learn more about themselves. And most of them like learning more about areas where they can achieve excellence and if they invest some time and some practice. So we found it to work very well. Now, if you go back to your campus and say, oh man, the University of Missouri is using Strengths Quest and Strengths Finder all across campus, I'm going to tell you that's not true. Okay, I shouldn't do that. I guess I should let you think what you want to think. But I want to tell you that we have what are called Strengths Institutes. We blast out an email about every twice a semester. We invite academic advisors. We invite faculty to come to a day of learning about strengths. We usually have 40 or 50 people that participate in this day-long training, and they get turned on to it, and they go back and they start to try to use it. We're just affecting change sort of incrementally, one little step at a time. But it seems to be very effective, and we've got some faculty that are very, very excited about what we're doing. So back to the original question. Are we guides, or are we good company or companions for our students as they find the way to their good life? Well, I submit we're both. I think we serve in two roles. But there is a little bit of a difference. It's kind of subtle, but there is a difference. Now, according to Webster, a guide is a person who directs or serves as a model for another in his conduct or his career. And then a companion, or good company, that's what I like that term, and Marcia Baxter Magolda used it in an article that she wrote several years ago, so I thought it was a good term. A companion is one who associates with or accompanies another. An associate, a comrade, a friend. We provide guidance as our students examine who they are as they make choices about what they will study and how they'll spend their time. We help them explore the many options that they have as they travel their journey to adulthood. And we serve as companions on that journey. Marcia Baxter Magolda suggests that we serve as good company, providing guidance while students gain an understanding of themselves, their strengths, their beliefs, and their values. Our companionship and our guidance may also include holding our students accountable, or in some cases critiquing their choices. In whichever role we see ourselves, we need to see ourselves as partners with our students in that journey rather than the directors of the trip, okay? So as we work with them on how they are going to develop these strengths, we need to do a little bit of teaching. They need to do some learning. And I've always been interested in student learning, and I know that all of us in here have some ideas about how students learn. We know some are more auditory, some are more visual. We know that some have to go in quiet and study, and others read aloud in order to absorb materials that they need. But since I'm in student affairs, I'm particularly interested in the kinds of learning activities we provide for students beyond the classroom and outside of class. Some of them are serendipitous, but usually what we do is we design programs with some intent, with some intention that through interactions our students are going to discover some things about themselves or some things about other people. And so I've been rather interested to watch how they learn. We have a late night programming, a craft night for late night programming. And that's one of those programs that's on a Friday night between 9 p.m. and 2 a.m. And we invite students to come to our student union and learn a craft. And I was amazed at how popular this program is. They learn origami. We have a wheel with clay. They can learn to throw pots. They can learn all kinds of crafty little skills. So we have several hundred that attend this event. But what interests me is what happens to students during this event while they're working side by side on whatever little crafty thing that they're doing. You know, they're quick to share supplies. Hey, has anybody got some red paint? Or they're quick to sort of offer suggestions about what the other person's doing. You know, this guy seems to be helping her, but I bet he's given her advice on what color paint to use. And they're quick to discuss what they're making. Oh, that's kind of cute. What is that? And if it's a young woman sitting next to a guy and she says, oh, that's really nice. Who are you making it for? And he says, well, I'm making it for my little sister. Well, that young woman has decided that this guy is pretty cool and she's probably going to follow him anywhere. In fact, young men have said to me, Cathy, I go to those craft nights because women like to see the softer side of me. So there you go, all right? But see, now first they're talking about this object, this thing. But the next thing they do is they're starting to talk about themselves. They begin to get acquainted. They begin to talk about their interests beyond what they're making. And they begin to talk about their life on campus and you know, whatever else is going on in their lives. The conversation is easy. It's not forced. It's not rehearsed or awkward at all. They're working independently on a project and while being willing to engage the person next to them. And by the end of the evening, they've found out that they're actually maybe interesting to somebody else. They find out that other people will talk to them. They'll gain some confidence out of it. They'll try again the next time. And they're able to do all of this without alcohol. And let me tell you something, that's an important thing for our young people to learn, is that they do not need that social lubricant to be attractive and to be engaging. Now, one of the most interesting exchanges I've ever heard during one of our events, this is a pumpkin carving that we are fortunate in Columbia, Missouri, that we live close to a small town that has a pumpkin festival every year. And so we go down to this small town with a couple of pickup trucks and we buy about 700 pumpkins. And we offer a pumpkin carving day on campus the day before Halloween. And we have all the stencils and all the supplies that you need to make a beautiful jack-o'-lantern. I made one that looked like a cat. I was so impressed with myself, I couldn't believe it. But anyway, okay, so we lay out these pumpkins all day.